Let's talk about the other side of this. Cooper Flagg, the most talked about basketball player on the face of the planet, 26 points, 12 rebounds tonight, several times. I mean, to get Duke tied late in the game, he's hitting tough shots and ones from the elbow. Hit a three on a night where they only hit 4 threes. Let's talk about the discourse because, Jeff, you know it. You've worked at it. You worked at ESPN, so you know what comes on in the morning, a variety of things. What do you say about Flagg's performance, and would you have done anything differently if you were John Shire, giving him the basketball twice? It didn't work out, but it's November. It's day 9 of the season.
This kid is a reclassified freshman. He's 17 years old, playing against a bunch of kids. Kirk Risa, I think, is like 23. So it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment.
And he was the best player on the floor.
And he was the best player on the floor tonight. He made a couple mistakes, but Cooper Flagg is the real deal. He does everything well. There's no major hole other than maybe his 3-point shot, the consistency on it. Everything else, he's a terrific defender. Terrific. He's in a stance. He plays hard. He makes the right decision. He gets his teammates the ball. He doesn't force shots. He can post up. He can put on the floor. Like, what? I mean, again, if anybody is saying anything negative about Cooper Flagg off tonight's performance, you are a moron. You're a complete moron.
I was going to say an idiot, but same thing. How do you not? I mean, the kid played his tail off. He competes on both ends of the floor.
Yes.
He was the best player on the floor tonight.
Yeah,
I don't think that was close. He was spent. I think, like I said, he's got to get some help. You know, maybe try to run him in. I mean, it's just.
Did you agree with what they did?
Yeah,
the last two
because
possessions?
He had it going. He picked this matchup. He could beat Carr off the bounce whenever he wants.
It.
And he wants it. He wants the moment. He did it. I just think I would like to see one of the guards step up, like I said,
take some pressure off him.
Take some pressure off of him and make a play. That's all it is. And I say it's got to be Foster. And again, he'll be better. This team, the ceiling of this team is so high. I think it's just all for their taking. I think they're going to continue to get better. The only other thing I'll add to is their bench. We talked about this. Their bench or lack of production from their bench.
25-6 in bench points.
Yeah, before you go on that real quick, the one thing that I would say is if there is a place where I think Cooper Flagg can improve, it is in his ability to break somebody down off the bounce. Like, he is an incredible athlete. He is a guy that can finish above the rim. The thing that he does best, in my mind, more than anything else, is all the intangible winning stuff, right? That's the right rotation defensively, the right pass here. He let everybody else get involved, and he took over in the last 10, 15 minutes of this game, right? He does all the stuff that you want people to do. Where the next step for his development is kind of what we saw at the end of the game here, where it's like you're isolated against someone, and you have to go break somebody down off the bounce. That's not what he does great yet. He's good at it. But that's where the next step of
he was able to do it too in AAU and high school ball, right? He was able to get away with things that he can't get away with now.
And I will tell you this:
I thought the physicality caused him some issues, which is expected because he's playing against 17 years old.
They got 56-year seniors out there, man.
That's my point.
On,
so I don't think it's I think he's fine with that. I just think it's just the natural physicality that he's playing against. He gets bumped when he's driving because the ball wasn't stolen from him from his guy. It was coming from the help defender.
He's supposed to be a high school senior, and he just went for 26 and 12.
And he's not playing against Maine or Army.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a difference.
He had 26 and 12
with
2 assists and 2 blocks. Like, what are we talking about? How are you going to
he's a terrific player.
This is like
he's as good as advertised.
This is like when people say LeBron James.
He isn't,
if not better.
Maybe better. Maybe better. I mean, 26 points as a 17-year-old.
I mean, how could he be better? He's like, how could he be better than advertised? I mean, he's advertised as the number 1 pick as a 17-year-old.
But he came in as
people
a closer.
Saying he's the national player of the year.
He came in as a closer. I think that part of his game impressed me.
But he's done it. I guess he's better because with the bright lights, a lot of guys don't show up on a night like tonight. They're not efficient. He was incredibly efficient. Again, he didn't force things. He didn't let the moment get too big for him and say, like, I got to show him the number 1 pick.
And you know what else?
Like, he stayed within himself the whole night when a lot of people are expecting him to go for 30.
I don't think it's a bad thing to fail either for kids at this level, right? Like, I don't think it's a bad thing to experience loss, to experience making mistakes like that, especially for a dude that's wired the way that he is.
No, here's the thing. It's not a bad thing at all for a kid to fail. What's bad is the crappy discourse that comes off it from
hopefully
people
it
who
won't be
hide
that.
behind keyboards and who give their takes and who make their claims. You know,
They're
as
idiots.
No, but that stuff exists, and Flagg's handled it very, very well. We have to accept that failure is a good thing for a 17, 18, 19-year-old, whether they're making NIL money or not. It's a good thing for a kid and his long-term career. He will be better off from this night. You know right now he's going to have the ball in March in a late-game situation.
I don't understand why. If you're getting technical, you're nitpicking about the turnovers late. They're not even in that position if it's not for him. They weren't running any plays. The previous 4 or 5 plays leading up to that, he made those plays. You keep coming back to him like that. That's just tough. That's a tough ask. I mean, you put the ball in his hands. Everyone saw what he was doing. He was the best player on the floor, and I don't know how you argue it. He came up short at the end. This team will be better for going forward.
I want to talk to you about this. You and I were talking throughout the game. RC and I were sitting next to each other, and you were breaking down the Kentucky system to me. All the Big Blue Nation people are going to love to hear this from you. Break down what you like about this system and what is different about Mark Pope, what his system is.
I think it's, like I said, the biggest thing is that everyone the threes and they think it's all fun with shooting a ton of threes. What this team does is put so much pressure on the rim. Williams is an underrated passer. So they spread you out with that. And now he doesn't have to be great because they shoot the ball so well on those dribble handoffs that you can't lay off of him sitting in the paint. So he's throwing bounce passes and hitting the guards, and they've done a really good job leading into this about controlling the paint and also shooting threes. I just thought Malawach would just control the paint.
Oh,
it was more about him in the first half than I thought anything else. He was just athletic enough to come up, go back, keep everything in front of him. The game changed significantly for him when he cramped, which is the second player, because Cooper Flagg was cramping in the Army
Paolo
game.
Banchero cramped up.
What
is it with these Duke
Shire's
freshmen?
not happy about it. He talked about it at the Army game. And I can tell you now, going back to Duke, Shire's
got to figure this thing out.
The strength and conditioning department, everybody's going to have. Yeah.
Jeff, when Kama Malawach left the game, Duke was up by 6. When he returned, it was tied.
Yeah, no, he's a different.
And he wasn't the same.
He's Derek Lively. Very similar. He might be even more intimidating.
You know what it's like? It's similar. It's similar to the impact that Donovan Clingan had for UConn last year, where like you don't have to worry about the like you can get much more aggressive on the perimeter defensively when you have a guy at the rim that you can't do anything around. Like,
and guys are just scared tonight. Early.
Yeah, we talked about that.
They were just intimidated.
But if I have to be critical of Duke, I'd say too. The bench has to be better.
He said, "If I have to be critical,
because,
if I have to say, I'm Randolph Childress, Wake Forest legend. I gotta say bad things about Duke.
I said too many nice things about Duke tonight, so I got to say something bad. Their bench production.
They need one more guy. They need one more guy in case a Zion James or somebody like that gets hurt.
It has to, and that's why I said, is it Darren Harris? Is it Isaiah Evans? If they're not ready now, they need to get them ready. They just need to be able to have more depth and not just be eight guys in a game like this. As the season wears on, you know.
Say this too before we move on. Like, this was a fun game and a fun environment.
Great game.
Because you had the Duke crowd is great. The Duke crowd is always good, and I always forget how good it is at Champions Classic. They travel really well. But Big Blue Nation, you could just feel it with them.